94, and they had a unbelievable season going on that year in 94. They had a lockout. The season was over, and it took 5 years to recover. 4 years to recover. It took the summer of 1998 and the home run chase with Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and Mark McGwire putting on one of the most unbelievable and historic displays in sports history to reborn Major League Baseball.
The Women's National Basketball Association faces a critical juncture in its collective bargaining agreement negotiations, with the potential for a work stoppage that could devastate the league's recent momentum. Revenue increases are expected, yet player expectations might exceed realistic financial projections. Historical precedent demonstrates the catastrophic impact of labor disputes on professional sports. Major League Baseball's 1994 strike occurred during an exceptional season, resulting in cancellation and requiring 4 years for recovery. The 1998 home run race, featuring Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and Mark McGwire, ultimately revitalized baseball's popularity. The WNBA lacks such recovery mechanisms. A lockout would likely terminate the league permanently.
With the elephant in the room, Caitlin Clark ruled out for Thursday with a groin injury. How they were playing this entire time between day-to-day and game-time decision and questionable, I was skeptical. I had to go straight to the source. And sure enough, the Indiana Fever, more than 24 hours advance, let fans know, hey, Caitlin's not going to be there. Instead of having you drive 5 hours only to realize 2 hours away, she's out. After flying 10 hours, only to realize 5 hours in the air.
Many athletes appear unaware of this vulnerability. The league's newfound popularity could evaporate quickly if labor tensions create extended disruptions. Recent momentum includes increased attendance, television viewership, and media attention, primarily driven by star players like Caitlin Clark. However, Clark has faced physical play that has resulted in missed games, which threatens the league's marketability since the new media rights deal depends heavily on star power.
To reborn Major League Baseball. The WNBA does not have that luxury. If they go into a lockout, this league is over. It's a wrap. And I'm not sure these players quite understand that. All right? It would not take a lot for a lot of people to just say, I'm good. I gave it a shot, and it didn't work out. There was too much drama, too much bullshit. Too many bad.
Current salary structures provide context for negotiation expectations. Above-average players like Kelsey Mitchell earn approximately $249,000 annually. The new media rights agreement will increase league revenue from roughly $60 million to over $250 million yearly. However, this growth must accommodate expansion teams and larger rosters, preventing simple multiplication of current salaries. Roster expansion represents a significant need. The current system creates situations where talented players like Ari McDonald face complicated signing processes involving hardship contracts and 10-day deals. Teams should possess straightforward ability to sign quality players for full seasons when salary cap space exists, similar to NBA practices.
Only to realize 5 hours in the air, she's out. After coming all the way from Australia, over 8,000 miles, to watch Caitlin Clark only to land and here, she's out. The Indiana Fever finally give us advanced notice, dare I say, that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. I appreciate that. Stephanie White talks about the injury and why we're going from game time decision to ruling her out earlier now.
Players have rejected the initial CBA proposal, with union representatives expressing strong dissatisfaction. This reaction concerns many observers because the league has never generated profit and depends entirely on NBA subsidies. Players essentially benefit from the success of NBA stars like Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant through cross-subsidization.
There's too much drama, too much bullshit, too many bad refs, a clown show of a commissioner, the whole nine, watching their beloved star get the crap beat out of her every other game, her missing games now, which is a disaster. By the way, they're getting this new media rights deal because of her. Caitlin Clark did, by the way, come comment on this CBA. Look, they're going to get a salary bump, but if the average
The league's survival depends on reasonable salary expectations. If average players demand salaries approaching $1.5 million annually, the league becomes financially unsustainable. More realistic projections suggest Mitchell's $249,000 salary might reasonably increase to $600,000, $700,000, with maximum salaries reaching $1 million. Demands for $5 million annual salaries would force league closure due to insufficient revenue generation. Phoenix Mercury's Satou Sabally, serving as a player representative, characterized the league's initial proposal as insulting. Her comments followed the announcement of 3 expansion franchises, bringing total teams to 18. Schedules will likely expand from current levels towards 60 games, potentially reaching 50 games within 5 years, after recent increases from 40 to 44 games.
To ruling her out earlier now. Let's take a listen.
Nothing about it being a game time decision these last couple games and being able to rule her out today. Is there any extra kind of concern about just, that little change in?
I don't know if there's extra concern as more of like, hey, let's just maintain perspective. She wants to play, and she's working to play, and she has been working to play. And I think after a few days, it's like, okay, we've got a little bit of time. Thinking 5 games before All-Star break, we've got a little bit of time. So let's just ease her mind, even though she's antsy.
Sources close to negotiations indicate the league's first proposal failed to address player requests adequately. Sabally advocated for roster expansion while acknowledging that 3 new franchises represent completed decisions requiring accommodation regardless of current team preferences. Indiana Fever players Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson issued a prepared statement emphasizing that league growth necessitates CBA adjustments reflecting player value. They argued for fair compensation based on business success. They helped create. The league did not respond to these comments.
Bump. But if the average player, let's see, let's just say above average, Kelsey Mitchell got what? A 1-year, $249,000 contract, I think, roughly. I think it's safe to assume that with the new media rights deal, all right, they're going to be going from around $60 million a year to over $250, okay, million a year, all in, all said and done.
ESPN reported the media rights deal's final value approaches $3 billion, with annual value reaching $270 million, exceeding initial projections of $240 to $250 million. This represents more than quadruple previous agreements. Additionally, expansion fees generated $250 million for 3 new franchises. Approximately 80% of players become free agents next year, anticipating substantial salary increases. However, additional teams create a 50% increase from 2024 to 2030, diluting revenue distribution. Roster expansion produces similar effects, spreading available money across more positions.
Thinking 5 games before All-Star break, we've got a little bit of time, so let's just ease her mind, even though she's antsy, and let's do this the right way and make sure that we're ready to go and 100% when she comes back.
Nothing about it being a game.
Now, a lot of people are seeing this, hearing this, saying, oh, they're going to hold it out until All-Star break. They're going to hold her out until All-Star break. We got to keep proper perspective. My question to Stephanie White would be, it took us this long to put things in proper perspective to give us a real timetable? It took us this long to say, oh, well, we got 5 games.
The Washington Post reported annual losses averaging $10 million since league inception. This financial reality constrains negotiation parameters despite increased revenue projections. Caitlin Clark highlighted compensation inconsistencies, noting Commissioner Cup winners receive approximately $30,000 each, while WNBA champions earn $11,036. She called for Commissioner Cathy Engelbert to address these disparities. Clark's observation reflects reasonable concerns about prize structure priorities.
Said and done. You got expansion. You've got rosters that need to increase in size. All right? So you can't just automatically be like, well, that's 4 times, so the salary's going up 4 times. No. There's going to have to be money spread out. You've got expansion, and you need to increase these rosters. There shouldn't be an Ari McDonald situation. If a WNBA team wants to sign an Ari McDonald, they should be able to sign her straight up.
In-season tournaments generate questionable value compared to traditional championships. The precedent of bubble championships raises questions about competitive integrity when teams avoid hostile road environments. Salary expectations determine negotiation success. Reasonable increases from $249,000 to $600,000 appear sustainable, while demands for $2 million annual salaries would force league closure. Financial reality suggests only one player currently justifies exceptional compensation, potentially $10 million annually, while others remain valued around $300,000. Positive aspects include rookie salary improvement. Current $76,000 starting salaries could increase to $150,000, representing significant improvements. Higher salaries might attract international players who currently earn more overseas, potentially improving overall talent levels.
Well, we got 5 games until the All-Star break. Maybe we should wait a little bit. Oh, Caitlin Clark, she really wants to play. Let's just ease her mind. Why is it taking this long? Was there an inkling all along throughout these game time decisions, throughout these day-to-day status reports, that she was always going to be not ready to go prior to the game, but we still strung people along? And if she is out until All-Star break, then I'm steadfast holding the position. They knew this injury was more serious than it was, and they decided not to tell us.
Performance standards require attention. Professional players struggling with fundamental skills like layups, typically mastered in elementary physical education, raises questions about training and development priorities. These basic competencies should factor into compensation discussions. The league stands at a crossroads between growth and sustainability. Excessive player demands could eliminate recent progress, while reasonable expectations might finally achieve profitability. The negotiation outcome will determine whether the WNBA capitalizes on current.
They should be able to sign her straight up for the season. None of that hardship 10-day crap, that was for the birds, and it looked like some clown shit from the league. Honestly, I was like, what is this crap? I understand they've had 10-day contracts in the NBA forever, but as long as the salary cap room is there, they can usually just pull the trigger, bring somebody on if they decide to keep them. There was all these regulations and shit. You had guys trying to become experts in that.
The Indiana Fever confirmed Caitlin Clark's absence from Thursday's matchup against the Las Vegas Aces due to a groin injury. Coach Stephanie White's remarks suggest the injury might be more significant than initially indicated, with speculation mounting about potential absence extending through the All-Star break. The team provided advance notification more than 24 hours before the game, preventing fans from traveling extensive distances only to discover Clark's unavailability upon arrival. This consideration addresses previous concerns about last-minute decisions that left supporters who had traveled internationally or across the country disappointed.
More serious than it was, and they decided not to tell us for a specific reason. That reason, I've already told you. But off the jump, there should have been 1 to 2 weeks off rip. We injure our quad, we get rushed back. We injure our quad again, we get rushed back. Now we injured our groin. Clear 1 to 2 week injury, clear 1 to 2 week recovery, in my estimation. But now, she's bringing up All-Star break in these interviews.
White addressed the transition from game-time decisions to earlier announcements, emphasizing the need for proper perspective. She noted Clark's eagerness to return and the team's efforts to support her recovery process. With 5 games remaining before the All-Star break, the coaching staff prioritizes ensuring complete readiness over rushed returns. The injury timeline raises questions about transparency. Previous quad injuries resulted in accelerated comeback attempts, followed by re-injury situations. The current groin issue appears to warrant a standard 1 to 2 week recovery period, yet discussions now reference the All-Star break as a potential return target. This pattern resembles preseason management, where Clark was held out entirely before returning for a high-profile Iowa game. Similar circumstances might see her sidelined through the first half's conclusion, returning for All-Star festivities.
Trying to become experts in that. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Cut somebody else and sign the woman because she's fantastic. So the WNBA players have rejected the first CBA offer. And of course, they got to get fly at the mouth over it, which again turns off a massive section of fans because the league has never turned a profit ever.
Regarding collective bargaining discussions, Phoenix Mercury's Satou Sabally characterized the league's recent proposal as disrespectful to players. She advocates for roster expansion and increased investment in current teams before pursuing additional franchises. Sabally criticized organizations that consistently cite financial constraints as justification for limited player investment. The fundamental challenge remains profitability. Team owners reference ongoing losses and debt accumulation as legitimate concerns about increased spending. These business leaders seek returns on investments that have generated red ink for years. Requests for additional multi-million-dollar commitments face resistance from ownership groups already operating at deficits.
But now she's bringing up All-Star break in these interviews. Very interesting. I don't care how long she sits, to be honest with you, as long as when she comes back, she's healthy. So if that means sitting her the rest of this week, bringing her back July 9th against the Valkyrie, then that's what it means. If that means resting her all the way up until the All-Star break, then that's what it means. But it would be very similar holding her out all preseason only to bring her back against the Iowa game, then keep her out the back half of the first half of the season only to bring her out.
Sabally's roster expansion preference over league growth presents valid arguments. Additional roster spots for existing teams might prove more beneficial than adding franchises in Philadelphia and Detroit, with 5 total teams joining by 2030 to reach 18 franchises. Current collective bargaining negotiations reveal significant gaps between player expectations and financial reality. Players currently receive approximately 9.3% of league revenue, while NBA players earn 49 to 51% of their league's income. The critical difference lies in profitability. NBA generates substantial profits alongside large revenues, while WNBA struggles despite revenue growth from $100 million in 2019 to over $200 million.
Ever. And it's like the players don't know that. They're living off the subsidies of the National Basketball Association. They're living off of Steph Curry and LeBron James and Michael Jordan and Kobe and all the legacies. They're profiting off of that. Well, they're not even profiting off of it. They're staying afloat off of it. I can't say profit because they ain't made no money. They're going to make money as long as they don't get.
Revenue increases should theoretically benefit players through percentage-based calculations. 9% of $300 million exceeds 9% of $100 million significantly. Ownership likely offers percentage increases to 12%, 15%, or possibly 17%, along with jersey sales revenue sharing. However, large portions of currently negative profit margins remain unavailable until fundamental financial improvements occur. Player leverage appears limited compared to ownership positions. In potential work stoppages, players face greater losses than owners. The 2026 season's cancellation would disproportionately impact player careers and earnings. Current momentum requires immediate capitalization rather than delayed negotiations that might reduce league interest and player bargaining power.
Then keep her out the back half of the first half of the season only to bring her out for the All-Star game. Very similar how those two instances are playing out. Let's hear what Satou Sabally had to say about CBA negotiations and the most recent offer.
I think we can focus on our players in the union. We got a proposal from the league, which was honestly a slap in the face. And I think we really have to put an emphasis on the players that are in our league right now. But I love to see the league growing. I think, adding
Sophie Cunningham addressed expansion concerns, noting NBA opportunities exceed WNBA options significantly. She emphasized consulting players about preferred destinations and cited Miami, Nashville, and Kansas City as potentially attractive markets. The Women's Soccer League demonstrates successful fan engagement in various cities. Expansion pace concerns center on talent dilution and competitive balance. Current parity issues might worsen with additional teams spreading available talent across more franchises. 2 upcoming teams will strain player distribution, while 5 total additions could create significant competitive imbalances. Destination appeal affects free agency decisions. Teams in less attractive markets face recruitment challenges similar to certain NBA franchises. Detroit specifically generated lukewarm responses regarding player excitement about potential relocation or signing opportunities.